all the time in the world. If you ask the New South executives, they say, no, we've got to get this moving because we've still got to report. The field season, as Ken says, is the shortest season of a whole study. So he said that there were what, 3 days?
We usually calculate 3 days indoors for every 1 day out.
Okay.
So there's lab analysis, research, and writing to do.
So they'll pack up their bags and full of artifacts and go to their offices, laboratories, and start doing the mapping and the cleaning and the researching and the study.
Okay. So the whole project could continue on another year?
Well, we expect another year before we get the report. That's just what we're putting on the table. And what that report tells us will help us determine the future.
And not only do we have this strip to complete, but we have everything up north, up by the gate.
Yeah.
We have 11 strips up, or 6 or 7 strips up there. About a dozen good-sized features, big hits we have to look at up there. A lot of that we've seen so far is 19th century. I've gotten some 18th, 17th century stuff up there. So this is just, we're not done. And then quite a few of these, the little pink flags still have to be looked at. We have a couple pits and quite a lot. Most of these are what we call post holes, which are just the indicator of where a posts have been set in the ground. And once we excavate those, find out which ones are real and which ones are trees, separate out the trees, map the real ones, and maybe we're going to find location of other structures as well.
Do you use any ground sonar or anything like that?
GPR is what got us to where we are.
Oh, okay. And what does GPR stand for? Global positioning?
No, ground penetrating radar.
Ground, okay.
Yeah, which is a, back when I was a young archaeologist, there was no GPR, it was all shovel tests.
Okay.
We would take the shovel test data like we showed on the map, we put it in what also eventually became a fancy technology, Surfer and, the distributional mapping programs, and that would show you where to dig. Now we have a GPR that tells us exactly where to dig.
Oh, all right.
This we found to within centimeters. I mean, they really came down on this.
Wow.
The next feature we're about to find was very, the GPR, like I said, it'll give you a lot of 20th century stuff. It doesn't really discern, it doesn't discriminate. But then, because I've got several years before I retire, they still let me come out here and dig holes. So.
What's the size this GPR can detect? How small a piece?
A small pit, I would imagine. Something about that size, a hole about that big, a disturbance that big.
Oh, okay.
If it gets any smaller than that, I think you'd have to, you have to question the data, and then they run it through several different analysis programs. But like I said, it really doesn't discriminate from what you're looking at and what you don't want to look at. So eventually they have to send me out there to dig a hole.
One area that was surveyed by the ground penetrating radar was in the public part of the park. Was anything found there?
I'm not the northernmost I know we've got up here just inside the gate. I don't know if
there was an area outside the gate.
I was not aware of that.
Around the barn. We could see them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had it looked actually like a four-wheeled cart.
Right, it looks like a
like test equipment. Yeah.
But no, I'm not aware of them finding anything up there. We got the maps from where they wanted us to dig, so.
Okay.
Chances are they found 20th century things up there. But, because you'd be surprised how much development has taken place wherever you walk every day.
Yeah.
Very seldom do you just find nothing at all. But,
Are there any 20th century buildings here?
Well, the prison we took down in the winter time. Right under the first tree here, there was a cafeteria, and that's a late 20th century structure. There are a couple little sheds that we found, like little utility sheds, that amounted to really nothing. But it shows up. We find it. But
and not to politicize our visit here, but you said you found very little ceramic stuff from the 1600s.
Oh no, here in this particular.
In this spot.
But I was going to say, even then, they must not have wanted residential development.
Oh, absolutely.
I tried.
I'm looking across. How far is Smithfield from here? They had things to do. They don't want houses here. They're going over there.
And you know what? Like I said, I'm from South Carolina. We have a real vocabulary problem with Virginia.
Yeah.
The whole idea that thing is called a creek. In South Carolina, you could do that over a creek. You know, that is a river. You know, that's an ocean in South Carolina. What are you guys talking about?
Deep Creek.
Well, somebody knows historically.
Goose Creek too.
Oh yeah, that's true. We have Goose Creek there.
We have somebody here historically, correct me, didn't the first explorers come into Deep Creek and take shelter there as they were coming up to James?
Would not surprise me. I mean, they're all.
That's, I thought that was,
Is it really?
yeah.
Well, then
You
we
know.
have an argument for the preservation.
I thought that was true. So